All right, so I have until 2:30 to go get my clothes, and then I'll be done at 2:30. Yeah, so 2:30 and I'll be done with my clothes. So I'm gonna go to bed then, or at least really close to then, and get a couple hours of sleep, maybe a few hours, maybe 3 hours tops. But yeah, it is what it is. Then I gotta go to work because I'm trying to start a business, and to start a business you need money. So I gotta go to work even if I'm only getting 3 hours of sleep tops. But it is what it is. So yeah, I'm gonna eat to save time while I'm talking, but yeah, I'll make sure that I'm not nasty about it. I cover my mouth. I got manners and stuff. But yeah, anyway, so what the title is my prevention and suppression system for forest fires. It's quite something. Um, So yeah, what it does is it has a system set up like a barrier. So if a forest fire starts, it won't pass the barrier. So you just create a barrier where you want your forest fire to stop and to contain it. So if you want your forest to burn and have good health, so that new forest can start, you let your forest fires burn. But nowadays you can't do that safely because to let a forest burn means that it would normally spread, and then it spreads and kills people. So as soon as a fire starts, forest fire starts, we put it out as humans because we fear fire, death and destruction, and all sorts of stuff. So with my system, my invention, you don't have to do that. You don't have to suppress it, or suppress it. You don't have to put it out. It suppresses and prevents it. So like it allows you to prevent it by stopping the forest fire from starting where you don't want it to start in the first place. Then, as a protection, because it'll stop your forest fire from going where you don't want it to go, which is near houses and near businesses and near roads. So you put the barrier. It's not like the type of barrier that you think. It's a placid barrier, which means it's not a rigid barrier. A rigid barrier is a permanent barrier that stays in place constantly. A fluid barrier or plastic barrier. How do you say that? What is it? Like a fluid barrier or something? I don't know what it's called. I can't think of it right now, but it's a barrier that comes into being at a given point in time. It just doesn't exist until it's needed. So, like, we'll have people on staff and sensors too. So that way, if there's a forest fire, then they just activate the barrier and the barrier comes up. So it'll have sensors like if the forest fire comes within a certain distance, like a mile of the barrier will enact itself. That way, it give it ample time to get ready for the fire to come to it, so that it's already ready. It'll decrease the likelihood of it skipping. But there's multiple barriers. There'll be like 10 barriers in a row. So that way, if it jumps a barrier, there'll be 10 more barriers for it to jump, which would be impossible. A fire can't infinitely jump, it can only jump so far. So it'll have a last ditch effort, which would be the three last barriers would be right at what you want to protect. So like right at the edge of the forest and a little bit further in, and right at the edge of the buildings too. So there'll be one barrier which will be around the what you want to protect, which would be the road or the houses or the businesses from the fire. So it'll also keep the spread of fire between buildings. So, like, say if one apartment building catches fire or one apartment catches fire, it won't catch all the apartment buildings on fire. Or if one house catches on fire, it won't catch all the houses on fire in the neighborhood. So it'll help out in firefighting so that they can put it out. before it spreads and gets out of control and destroys and kills a whole bunch of people. So there's that aspect too. In case you're wondering, I'm eating cheese right now. I buy them from Walmart. They come in a sample platter. I don't even know what company makes them, honestly, off the top of my head. I'll just buy them. I like them. I don't really like the cheese that much. In this platter, I like the other platter I got better, but I like to mix it up. I don't like eating the same thing always, so I mixed it up and got two different platters. So I'm eating the one I don't like as much first and saving the one I like more for last. But yeah, this is my favorite cheese out of this one, and it has peppers in it. It's just the best cheese out of this platter. Out of the other platter, the marbled one is the best one. This marbled one is different than the marbled in the other platter. The other platter, the marble one, is the best out of all 8 kinds. 8 total kinds, including that one. Anyways. So, a tangent that I wanted to talk about. I want to get my DNA tested. I really want to, really bad. I want to send into like a DNA website, but I'm not sure who I want to go through. I'm not so sure I want to go through Ancestry.com. I might go through 23andMe, but I'm not sure. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know in the comments. Please. All right, so there's a lot of reasons why I want to get my DNA tested. For one thing, I don't think I'm related to my family. Sorry, family, but hey, it is what it is. I think I'm adopted. I have some reasons to think I'm adopted. I won't get into so much detail about it, but I seriously think I'm adopted. If I am, oh well. I'd rather know than not know, and it's not like that it's gonna make me stop believing them as my family. They're still gonna be my family regardless. I was raised with them, and I'll still treat them as if they're my blood, even if I find out that they're not. But because my family kept such detail of their bloodline and my relatives, I'll be able to know without getting anybody else in my family to also get the DNA tested. I'll be able to know right off the bat when I get my results back if I'm actually related to them, just off of my results. Most likely within 75% likelihood of being right. It's only 75%, but it's 75% is good. So yeah, I won't know for sure, but it'll be better than going to my family and trying to get one of them to test their DNA too. They might get super mad at that. But yeah, I just really want to know if I'm adopted or not as the main reason. There's other reasons too, but that's the main reason. Yeah, so I'm gonna get my DNA tested pretty soon. Yeah. Anyways, so that's another tangent. I was talking about fire prevention system. Yeah, so it won't be just the fire prevention system getting rid of the firefighters. It won't do that. They'll still be fighting the forest fires and stuff like that. But yeah, they'll fight the smaller ones because you can't really protect a forest that's within a certain square area. It really wouldn't work very well because my system works on a certain size forest better than a certain smaller forest. Like if the forest is too small, it won't work as well as if it's a bigger forest. So when fire prevention and suppression system works better over greater distances than it does over a short distance. It has a higher success rate of stopping the forest fire. If it's like one of those bullcrap forests that you can't really call forest, what I would call a grouping of trees, then it really wouldn't work. It would kind of help the forest fires, forest fire firefighters. That's a mouthful. It would help the forest fire firefighters to fight it better, but it wouldn't completely fight the fire. Most likely, it would be dangerous just to let it burn its own way. But if it's an actual forest and a substantial forest, then yeah, my fire prevention system will 100% successful. No error at all, because I will have both humans and also computers controlling it. So there'll be fail safes. Plus, there'll be forest fire firefighters on standby if it gets to a certain point of containment, like a containment breach, then they'll be dispatched before it becomes an issue to fight the forest fire. But the whole point is to let it burn, because the health of a forest is dependent on forest fires. Most people don't think so, but you got to let the forest fires burn. And the only way to do that safely is if you contain them safely. So my invention allows that to happen. But yeah, it is what it is. I need to get it patented still. So I can't talk about it too much. But it uses borrowed technology from my other inventions too. So it would be very cheap to operate. I'm talking about super, super cheap. To enact it and use it, it would be about, I would say about $100 an hour to operate it. And it would be operating the entire time that the forest fire is going. So I don't know, like a few days worth at $100. So it would be thousands of dollars to ensure that everybody's safe. But what would happen would be that we would be charging for the city or whatever is protecting themselves from that forest fire in the future would pay a certain amount every month to my company. And then in the event that there is a forest fire, then we wouldn't charge you for it. We would just enact it. Like it would be like car insurance. You shouldn't pay for if your car gets in a car wreck. You're supposed to pay for the coverage so that the coverage takes care of it. Their insurance takes care of it, even though it doesn't really work like that. In the real world, it'll work like that for my company. So it's just like you pay for the coverage and then we pay for the operation costs if we have to operate it. Heaven forbid, but you know that there's going to be forest fires eventually. And it'll be the same price as if you're in Australia that's fire prone, or if you're in Brazil or at a rainforest or something, like the Amazon. If you want it in the Amazon, my technology, you'll pay the same amount as if you're in Australia where it's high prone to being a forest fire. You'll pay the same amount, monthly amount. We won't hike the prices because you're a high risk area. It doesn't work like that. Not my company, at least. And it's not going to be just a US thing. I'm going to operate all over the world. Uh, Not all my technology, but I'm going to have a world brand for a lot of my inventions and stuff. And my delivery service I want to get into, a part of my business that I'll be doing, because my business is all sorts of things. It'll sell technology, it'll sell services, knowledge, all sorts of stuff. We'll deliver a flat fee for no matter where it is. So like we'll charge a certain amount per pound, whether you're shipping internationally or or not. Like domestic or international will be the same price per pound, which will be a big difference because right now shipping internationally is super expensive. But my company won't be super expensive. It'll be the same to ship domestic as it would be international, because I'll have my company will have warehouses all over the world, so it won't be that big of a deal. And the amount of couriers I would have would be very high. So it'd be really good for the local economy too, because think all them jobs that would be created too. Cheese goes bad, so I can't leave it out. Sorry. But I had to put it away. All right. I got other stuff to eat too, not just cheese, obviously. All right, I'm eating Black Forest snacks, fruit snacks. They have juice on the inside of them. They're the only fruit snacks I like. Sorry, but just what it is. If you never had them before and you're an adult, you'll like them. If you're a kid, you won't like them. But yeah, so anyways, trying to think of another invention I want to talk about. Oh yeah, my hospitals. I invented hospitals. People like, hospitals have already been invented. I'd be like, no, not my hospital. My hospital uses powered off of my own invention. So like you won't have to have it running off of coal or whatever, or nuclear power or anything like that. You won't have to worry about hydropower or anything to power it. It'll use solar power, but my own technology, my own version of solar power. The way I harness solar power is unique to me and me alone. So yeah. But anyway, so it uses material that is antimicrobial. So like all the contact surfaces and everything. When I mean everything will be made out of this. So like the doorknobs, the railings, the handle on the toilets, the handles on the sink. Although the sinks would be motion censored, but the sink handle itself would be in that material. Anyways, just out of the fact, and the paper towel dispenser will be made out of that too, because even though it's motion censored, sometimes you touch it anyway, so it needs to be made out of that material that's antimicrobial. Anyways, it's like 99.7% effective. It's not 100% effective against a disease in that, but it's better than nothing. Way better than nothing. As 99.7% effective. So this is one of those go-go squeeze. So I don't even like them. I got the fruit and vegetable one. I think I should have just gone with the fruit one. I'm gonna try the other ones, but yeah, I don't like it. That's what it looks like. It's for kids, but I don't care. I was gonna get it to try it anyways. I don't think if I think it's disgusting, then well, it's not disgusting. But if I think it's not good, uh, out of 10, I would give it like a 5. So it's not like bad, but it's not good. It just is. It just is. Well, anyways, yeah. So, yeah. I'm sure the just fruit one would taste better. I'm gonna try it eventually. But anyways, as I get on a tangent, I'm pretty sure kids wouldn't like it. Well, anyways, so my invention in a hospital, it's also the building itself. It'll be designed the same way that my skyscrapers are designed to be self-sustaining. It'll have its own farm and everything inside of the hospital. Just like my buildings, my skyscrapers have their own farms in them. And yeah, it'll have side buildings. There'll be a community for animals too, so that way you can harvest animals like cows and stuff like that next door. They'll have their own skyscraper to themselves, but it'll be its own skyscraper because you don't want them in your living quarters. Even in they wouldn't be in your living quarters even if they were in the same building, but I don't want them in the same building regardless because everything's going to be going through the same air. And there'll be air filters and stuff through micron filters and stuff like that to help the air quality, and we'll also use plants to filter the air too. But yeah, it I just want to separate the animals from the actual people. And they'll have areas where you can like go fishing if you like fishing, and you can actually eat the fish too. So yeah, it'll have its own like contained earth inside of the building. I think it'll be really cool. All right, so this is a Cliff Bar. Cliff Bar. This one's white chocolate and macadamia nut. I like this one. It looks like that. It's good. I'm not really a fan of white chocolate, but when it's mixed in with granola, it's just good. I don't know why. Maybe because it just adds that sugariness to it. I don't know. It's besides why I know why it goes together well when I don't like it separately, but it is what it is. There's some of these that are really bad, like the peanut butter one, the peanut butter and what was it? Peanut butter and something? I can't remember. Peanut butter and banana. Oh, ugh. It's disgusting. Yeah, so anyways, the hospitals themselves will have dispensers all over the place for washing your hands and require that when you come in you wash your hands. When you touch anything, you wash your hands with not like water, with hand sanitizer. This wasn't invented for corona, if you're wondering. I invented this a long time ago. It was invented because I was tired of going to hospitals with like something that's not serious and coming home with something that is serious. Like I would catch really bad viruses, get a really bad viral infection from going to a hospital for something, and not can't say that word right now, but something very minor, and coming home with something very major. It's like, come on. I go to the hospital to get treated for something minor. I should not come home with something major and having to go to a doctor to get treated for that major thing I got from the hospital. It's just stupid. So hospitals need to be fixed. And I invented a fix for them so that you're not transmitting a whole bunch of diseases and viruses and stuff. Trying to think of some more of my inventions. I got a few of them. It's just hard to keep track. Oh yeah, my drug that is illegal. It's an illegal controlled substance in the U.S. I don't even know if it's everywhere in the U.S., but I know it's not a legal controlled substance in Canada. So if you're in Canada, you can use it uncontrolled. So this one, I'm gonna have to go through the government to get permission, the U.S. government. If not, then I'm gonna have to open up operations in Canada, which would be a nightmare. It would be a nightmare of like legal red tape here and there and everywhere. But anyway, so what was I talking about? Crap. I forgot. Legal red tape here, there, and everywhere. What invention was I talking about? Oh, my drug. All right, this medicine or drug or whatever you want to call it is an illegal substance here, but it allows you to repair brain damage completely. Now, it's not going to bring back what you lost. Like, say half of your brain got cut out or whatever. Because I'll give an example. In psychology, we have this patient that we talk about and discuss where he was working on a railroad and they had like this thing that would shoot spikes, the railroad spikes, into the ground. And these spikes are like really big and really long, and the diameter's like 2-3 inches. So it's a big spike. That's why they had the device that would shoot it into the ground. Well, there was a malfunctioned and it misfired on the guy, and it shot the railroad spike through the man's head and took out I think it was like 20 to 30% of his brain got destroyed. Yeah, and so he ended up becoming a very aggressive person when before he was really nice, and his family had problems with him and stuff because he would attack them and stuff like that because he had very bad brain damage. I mean, it just made him like a really aggressive person. It had something to do with damaging his hippocampus and that, so it damaged his emotion center of his brain, so it caused him to be really angry all the time, pretty much. And he would just like have explosions. Like one minute he would be fine with his family, and the next minute he would just explode and want to kill him, pretty much. Yeah. So we studied it. You just study this guy in psychology, but uh, this guy had brain damage. So what happens is your brain gets damaged, and when it goes to send information, and tries to transfer it to that area of the brain, it can't. So it misfires and causes a misfiring because it gets like sent back, and then it gets sent in a different direction to try and go in a different path, but it's still messed up that direction, so it just keeps misfiring and misfiring and misfiring, and that's what causes you to have problems like being aggressive because your brain's just malfunctioning constantly. So what this does is you take my drug and it allows you to rewire your brain around the damage. So you'll still be able to access stuff that you weren't able to access before. Like it's hard to explain, but it'll say your emotion sensor, your brain got damaged. Well, your brain can adapt and cause an area of your brain that wasn't used for that to be used for that so that it can fix it. But the only way that you'd be able to do that is if you took my drug because it normally doesn't happen by itself. But it does happen by itself sometimes, but this would force it to happen. So it'll rewire around the damage. So say you get like a really bad concussion and it causes you brain damage, you can rewire around that brain damage so that way you can reinstate a person's ability to speak and stuff like that. Like people get into car accidents and they can't speak and have to relearn how to speak and walk and stuff like that. But if you take my drug, you can instantly be able to walk and instantly be able to talk and instantly be able to have memory proper and stuff like that. And I mean instantly, like it takes less than a minute. Uh, it's so fast that you wouldn't even realize it's happening while it's happening. You would just all of a sudden be all right, and you wouldn't even like really have memory of you not being all right either. It's weird. It's hard to explain with brain damage and brains and stuff like that. It's really, really hard to explain because there really isn't terminology around there for it. But hopefully, you get what I'm saying. It's a drug that'll cure brain damage pretty much. It doesn't bring back what you lost. It just allows you to be able to function and have a life with brain damage. So yeah, it's good. Um, it's really good. I need to get it patented, but it is an illegal substance, so I'm gonna have problems with this and the United States government because it's an illegal substance and it's uh, seen as very bad. It has a very bad stigma against it, and a lot of people use this drug too, very religiously. And yeah, so if you've already used it, then it doesn't work, and that's another drawback. Because once you've already used it, then you can't use it again, and it rewire your brain and help you out around the brain damage. But as a substance that allows the chemicals in your brain to be produced that need to be produced to fix your brain cells. I don't know how to explain it. It's so hard to explain. I'm not familiar with the science aspect of it too much. I'm more of that medical aspect of it, so it's hard for me to explain. I'm sorry. I'm just not a biologist. Um, the science aspect of it just flies right over my head. So it's really hard for me to explain to people. But from a medical standpoint, it rewires your brain around the damage. That's all you really need to know. But it has something to do with chemicals. I don't know what chemicals it releases. I don't know how it rewires your brain. I just know it does it. That's all I know. I actually stumbled upon it doing research on Alzheimer's. It does have effects on Alzheimer's, but it can't cure Alzheimer's. It can only make it last longer. It can make your Alzheimer's less aggressive and make you live longer with Alzheimer's. So I found out about it doing research into curing Alzheimer's. It doesn't cure it, but it's the closest we have. So yeah, it'll also be used for Alzheimer's, by the way. As long as you've never taken the drug before, that's the main drawback of it. It's a one-time use, and it's not a cure-all either, but it helps. So it needs to be out there on the market, especially for Alzheimer's and car accidents and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just useful. It'll it won't, like I said, it's not a cure-all, but it can help with uh, therapy. It'll be used as a therapy drug in conjunction with the therapy that's already being done for brain disorders and damage and stuff like that. Brain disorders. Brain disorders caused by brain damage and brain damage and as such. All right. I'll see you a little bit later. Another day. You guys have a good one, YouTube. See ya.